Hi, I'm Jack Hidary. I'm from New York City. Well, what's interesting about EarthWeb and then Dice, which also came out of that, is that it was an identification of the cobbler's children issue, which is that the cobblers are making all kinds of shoes for other people, but their children have no shoes. And so in this case, the IT folks around the world were creating all kinds of great stuff for other companies, but they themselves had no tool sets. They didn't have a job board. They didn't have an area to commune with each other. And so we created EarthWeb as really the first place for techies to come and get all the information and access they needed. Then we had Dice, and Dice became the #1 job board in the country for tech jobs, and still is today. Well, I do love science, and I love the brain, and actually it's come full circle now. The White House and the Gates Foundation and others asked me to step up and lead an education effort on science and math to get kids re-engaged on science and math. It's called National Lab Day. So in a way that brings back one of my first passions of engaging kids in math and science and making sure we have the innovation lead for the future in this country. When it comes to solar and wind, they don't quite evolve the same way as computer chips. And so what we find is that they're getting cheaper and cheaper, but not quite as fast as computer chips. The good news is that just in the past 2 years, solar panels have become so cheap now that many projects that were thought really unprofitable are now have a great return. So I think one of the factors is the fact that we're bringing a lot of optimization of supply and manufacturing into solar and wind. The second thing is applying IT, my first field, to clean tech, my second field. And when you combine IT, information technology, with clean tech, you get a really powerful combination that can bring down the cost. I think we'll see that play out in the next 3 years. So when we look at the landscape of clean technology and think about the companies that will be, I think, critical or we'll hear a lot about in the next few years, first of all, I think of the Chinese solar companies. People have not really heard these names a lot. Yingli, Trina, Suntech. If you watch the World Cup, you may have seen the Yingli banner as one of the sponsors there. They're changing the game in terms of the economics of solar right now. Another company to watch is Silver Spring Networks. It's a company that's still private right now. It's not a public company yet, but probably will be in the next few years. I also think we got to look at some of the new car companies. Coda comes to mind, CODA, and Tesla. Tesla just went public, of course, and Coda is still a private company. I think there's a lot of innovation happening right now with electric cars. And the final one I would mention is BYD, Build Your Dream. It's a Chinese company that some have heard of, but a lot of people are going to hear about it in the next 3-4 years. I'll tell you one person who's heard of it is Warren Buffett. He just put about $500 million into that company.